Some of you may know that May is the international month for the focus on mental health. In other words, around the world, nations, governments, organizations, NGOs, etc., are focused on how one can address the issue of mental wellness and help those who are desperately in need. I heard a statistic a couple of weeks ago that 1 out of 4, 25% of all human beings on the face of the planet have had a mental health challenge, have mental health issues that have not necessarily been addressed at one degree or another. Some are quite extreme and some may not even be noticed. That's a very, very high number. And it's something that we may not always pay attention to, and that's why they have this international focus on mental health. I want us to look at a passage of scripture that speaks to this situation, that speaks to this experience in our world today. And I believe will be a useful marker for the issues that we are trying to address as we try to help one another through the challenges of mental health. My name is Kwame Rubadiri. You are watching CITAM Church Online. Organizations as large as the United Nations and various others, the African Union, and various other smaller subset organizations around the world were set up to ensure peace. In fact, one of the guiding themes of the UN itself is a passage from the prophet Isaiah, which talks about nations beating their swords into plowshares and studying war no more. The desire for peace, the desire for rest, is something that is global, but it's something that's also personal. There's a passage still in the prophecy of Isaiah in chapter 26 and verse 3 that says this: "You," speaking of God, "will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast," or those whose minds are fixed on you because they trust in you. God is the author of all peace. And this passage of scripture talks about perfect peace, the kind of peace that addresses every area of life, every issue that you and I face. Now, mental health or mental wellness is a condition that is impacted by a number of things that happen in a person's life. You may have been, as a young person, dumped by your significant other, your boyfriend or girlfriend, dropped you. You may be going through a divorce as a couple. You may be someone who has lost a loved one, a father or a mother who's lost a child, children whose parents have died tragically. All manner of trauma, the loss of a job, the loss of income, add to the burden and to the triggers that lead to mental unhealth. And it is what we do in those contexts or those conditions and situations that is a measure of how well we not only cope, but how well we keep our minds healthy and at peace. We have various coping mechanisms. There are people who, because they're feeling completely discouraged or depressed, go and start eating, or they go into drugs, or they go into alcohol, whatever it might be. God is here promising that the best way to cope is to put our trust in Him, because He knows every detail of what every trigger might produce in our lives and what that will upset within us, because it will impact how we respond to other people, we respond to our work, to our jobs, to our responsibilities. God knows that those triggers have to be brought under control, and whatever you use to cope should be positive. And the only way to do that is to have your mind and all that is happening within your head, all your thoughts brought under the control of a God who can give you perfect, not temporary, but perfect peace that will help you and I through all the challenges that we have to face. Mental health is not an easily dealt with issue in our lives. It requires us to help one another. It requires us to understand one another. It requires us to forgive and to focus on the things that are good in one another. But ultimately, In order for us to get the greatest success in this area, it requires us to put our trust in God and to put our minds and the thoughts that come through our minds firmly in the hands of God. So think about what you think about and let God control your thoughts, control your heart, and keep you and I in perfect peace.